President Biden set to hold a virtual meeting this afternoon with governors of several deep blue states. Those leaders are actually taking steps to strengthen abortion access in the wake of the Supreme Court overturning Roe. Now, the president is getting cheers from the left and jeers from the right after these comments yesterday in Spain. Watch.
I believe we have to codify Roe v. Wade in the law, and the way to do that is to make sure the Congress votes to do that. And if the filibuster gets in the way, it's like voting rights. It should be, we provide an exception for this, require an exception to the filibuster for this action to deal with the Supreme Court decision.
Critics quick to hit the president for pushing to blow up the rules of the Senate, but his wish is likely going nowhere fast. Moderate Democratic Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin reacting with statements saying they are standing firmly against changing the rules. An excerpt from a New York Post editorial reading, quote, "Biden and company may think codifying Roe is so important that it's worth bypassing the filibuster rule just this once, but those who'd oppose it feel just as strongly about not codifying it. The filibuster is meant precisely to stop such controversial issues from being passed with just a slim majority." Mollie Hemingway, editor-in-chief of the Federalist and a Fox News contributor, joins me now. The left is basically playing, again, a temper tantrum, because when they don't get their way, they're going to try to fight the rules. The rules are the rules. Why do Democrats not understand the rules?
Well, it was just really shocking to see Biden on foreign soil attacking American institutions. You know, I don't think anyone has ever gone after the Supreme Court or another branch of government on foreign soil like he did yesterday, but also attacking the filibuster, which is something that he has spoken so strongly in favor of. He called it a pillar of American democracy. Democrats, of course, used the filibuster some 300 times during the Trump administration. And the whole point, as that New York Post editorial put it, is to make sure that really controversial issues aren't rammed through against and over, the American people. There is no issue on earth, and certainly not in America, more contentious than whether or not to protect unborn human life. And the idea that you would do it on this is just explosive and irresponsible.
Back in 2017, Biden actually said, and these are his words, "It's dangerous to delegitimize the courts." The New York Daily News is quoting him as saying, when you delegitimize the courts, you delegitimize the legislative body. It is corrosive, and it makes it almost impossible to reach compromise. We're a diverse nation. This democracy, in order to function, you have to remember it requires consensus at the end of the day. And this was not just a one-off comment, by the way. President Biden has also been defending the filibuster for decades. Watch.
Ending the filibuster is a very dangerous thing to do.
This nuclear option is ultimately an example of the arrogance of power. It is a fundamental power grab by the majority party.
Do you remember when President Trump was in office and he floated around the idea of using nuclear power and the left literally went nuclear? So now, of course, the tables are turned. I mean, more hypocrisy.
Well, people are right to be concerned about the questioning of institutions. You have to be very responsible and careful about how you do that. But you have right now an entire left that says if you have any questions about the 2020 election, that you're a seditious traitor, even though that was an election unlike any that we had ever experienced in our history. And at the same time, they are going overtime questioning the legitimacy and denouncing the legitimacy of the Supreme Court for the simple reason that they don't agree with the decision. Now, Roe v. Wade was a very poorly decided decision. It lasted for nearly 50 years, and yet the way that people and pro-life activists and constitutionalists fought it was to work through the courts, recognizing their legitimacy. If you want to have a republic, that's the way to go, and yet you're seeing this kind of in a widespread and dangerous fashion, how much people are talking about packing the court, threatening violence, as Chuck Schumer did against Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, being kind of soft-pedaling these assassination attempts against these justices. It is a really fraught moment.
By the way, hoping for a possible red wave in November. As you know, Republicans are slamming Democrats for meddling in a host of GOP primaries, and Dems are actually pouring money into the campaigns of more conservative candidates. They think Democratic nominees will have a better chance against a further right opponent in some races. In fact, Kelly Schultz, a Republican candidate for Maryland governor, says that Dems have actually spent 7 figures to promote her Trump-endorsed rival in next week's primary, and she's not having it.
The Democrat Governors Association has decided to put about $1 million into the Dan Cox campaign to be able to run ads for him on TV. They're only doing that for one reason. They're doing it because they know that I am the only candidate that can beat a tax and spend liberal in November.
I mean, this is crazy. And not only this, there are about 1.7 million Americans that have changed parties. Over 1 million of those Americans have changed to become a Republican, and about some 700,000 or so have gone and leaned to the left. So obviously the red wave is coming and Democrats are scared, but is this the way to go about it?
Well, you know, Democrats are meddling in multiple different ways. In some cases, they're going against more establishment Republican candidates. In other cases, they're meddling in favor of those establishment Republican candidates or people like Liz Cheney or the establishment figures in Georgia. I think Republican officials should not worry so much about this. What they need to do is pick candidates that their base likes, that will be energized to come out and vote for them. And then they should focus on policies that will reach out to independent candidates. I mean, all's fair in love and politics. And people are going to meddle and they're going to try and take advantage of things. But the Republican Party should pick quality candidates that their base likes, that have good issues, that reach out to those independents who are, as you know, fleeing the Democrat Party. All
right. All is love and politics, and I don't know. I don't think anybody thinks it's fair. If you're a Democrat, it's unfair. And oh well. Mollie Hemingway, thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.